Panthers, Hustlers, LoBaggers. I see you, Spidey, in the house. It is Thursday, March 7th at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, 10 a.m. here in Costa Rica, 8 a.m. on the West Coast. Man, I had the honor of doing King's Court last night. Brought along my man Sonny D. Got to rock with J Money and King Rail, and we ripped that shit up. Not only was it enormously fun, but it was winner after winner after winner. I went 4-0 on my King's Court picks, 6-1 in NBA overall. King Rail had an enormous night, including his live play. He went 21-2-1. Maxwell Smart had a giant night. If it wasn't for those two puck lines that I gave out that both lost, although, man, I thought the Knights were going to cover that -1.5. If it wasn't for those two puck lines, I did go 1-2 because I had the under 6.5 in the Leafs game. But the last 2 days, I've not been handing out winners in NHL. Now we have a giant NHL card for me to fix all that. But it doesn't matter how well you do in a certain sport. There's always more to do. And these books at -110, remember, -110, how do we beat -110? It is by working together. I need to give a big shout out to a lot of guys, but one, my man, LoBagger, Isan Solfagari. I was breaking down that Lakers Nuggets game, and Isan on King's Court in the chat said, Jimmy, you always talk in NHL about putting your foot on the throat of a team that's falling apart and putting an end to them and jumping all over it. And when he said that, I was like, you're right, Isan. No, let's not bother thinking about first quarter, first half, or full game. Let's take them all. And I tripled up, made about $400 on that spot. It was absolutely wonderful. So shout out to my man, Isan Solfagari. We have a great show today. We got 11 NHL games that we got to beat the shit out of. Then we have 2 NBA games. Then Babano will be joining us. He'll be touching, I'm sure, on this big NHL card. Also giving us looks on the NCAA basketball card. As I told you, I've been dealing with some major negociaciones to make sure that I had Max on my late show. And they're approved. So Max will be on every single late show that we have all month long. You are watching the Low Shack in the Bag Show. My name is Jimmy the Bag. My partner, the legend, Lodo's Low Shack, is on a break, but I think he's going to be back very, very soon, and I'm extremely excited about that. Now, let's give a shout out to all the low baggers in the chat. Nate Pereira said, Jimmy, on King's Court, said, should I put $1,000 on that Nugget spot? And I was like, you know what, Nate? Why don't you just put 333.33 on first quarter, first half, full game? But they all hit. Nate in the house. We got Alaska Marv in the house. So we got Alaska Marv straight out of Alaska. We got Sasha Taljard straight out of Africa. Man, we are growing. We don't die. We multiply. Matt Collin in the house. Drew Daddy now. Rico Money. Daryl Lyles. Ricardo Gutierrez. Dustin L. PG 00. Andy Townsend. The A-Town play of the day failed. But I believe in you, A-Town. And you're 1 and 2. We're going to get that right. We're going to be back in the black. And I've just been having great success this week with you guys. Never like enormous winning nights, but we've won every single night this week, and I've won every single night since I visited Spidey. We got Bob Taylor in the house, Christopher Comentini in the house, Paulo Marquez, Lil J, Cash Clip, Scott, Jackoffs is in the house, Joey Bagamush, Maxwell Smart in the house, Maxwell Smart coming off a giant day, and Max's play of the day, cashed. If I didn't add NC State at the very end of the King's Court, if I didn't add NC State, I would have had a winning night in college basketball. Still another 500 nights. It's been crazy. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 7-7, 7-7, 4-4. You know what? I will take it. Golden Mine, Ernest Welsh, Mr. Gokster, Walla Walla Dose, Gregorio Ruiz, Steve Casca, JC Alvarez, Rosie, Adam Lastman, Ed Williams, Robbie Tagaloa, Island Tony, D Bash, Ron Crawford, Captain 24/7, Trainer Tone, Ski Prophet. Ski Prophet will be joining the late show today. Man, I know like anything that Ski touches is gold right now. So Ski's hot. He just alone is straight fire. But also, him and I working together have been straight fire. So I can't wait. Just 2 games, which means that Ski and I can deep dive into them. Very excited about that. We got Ganja Gamers, Joe Ramirez, a.k.a. JoJo Stacks, Miles Williams, Francisco Pina, Adam Morera, 49ers for life. We have a great, great group. Let's get to work. So, we're going to start with this NHL card. We're going to beat it up. Can't wait to hear what Babano's going to say about it. I've already got some looks that I really like. Joey Bagamush saying Penn's reverse puck line. You know, well, it's not a reverse puck line because Pens are favored, but Penn's puck line, I'm pretty surprised that the Pens are such small favorites. And even though, and Jeff Joseph in the house, and Allison, if I had to just listen to you about that Georgia first half spot, it's so funny because I had a guy come on my Twitter and say, put out the record of Georgia first halves, and then the person right below it said, oh, I just looked up that record, and I jumped on Missouri. That was a mistake. There's going to be mistakes. I never jumped on West Virginia last night, even though my man Zach hit me with that information on Twitter. Shout out to Zach Kenkel. He hit me with it, and I didn't follow through. There's going to be mistakes, but there's also going to be a lot of winners. Dan Kelly in the house. Joseph Tucker. Joseph Mondalto. Dre Franklin. What a great, great group. Okay, let's get to work. Brooke Jordan joining us. Okay, there's a lot of spots that I like in this NHL card. I shouldn't say a lot, to be honest with you. There's about 4 or 5 that I really like, and then I'm going to jump all over. But we're going to deep dive on this NHL card, and I want to hammer it in this early show because I do not want to spend much time on it on the late show. I want to focus on basketball on the late show with Ski Profit and Maxwell Smart. Let's get to work. Just 187 says King of the Under strikes again. You know, what's the great thing about Max doing these shows is Max put out a bunch of plays from his early work with Drew Martin on that hit show SBR's Madness. I went over those picks late. I jumped on those 2 overs in the Horizon League, Northern Kentucky, the Detroit Mercy over, and then I jumped on, what was the other one I jumped on? Northern Kentucky, Detroit Mercy. What was the other one I jumped on? But I jumped on both those overs, and they hit easily. So Max is rolling. David H. in the house. Brett Allred in the house. Isaac Higgins in the house. Hit the like button in the house. CR. This is great. It's absolutely great. Let's get to work. Panthers at Bruins. Roberto Luongo, Tuukka Rask. We're going to deep dive into these NHL games, and I'm going to talk about the goalies that I expect to start, and let me know if the sites that I've used to find the goalies that are going to be up is wrong. So let's go over this stuff. Panthers, 10th in goals per game, 3.12, 28th in goals allowed, 3.35, third power play at 26.3%, but the Bruins have great special teams. They're 8th in penalty killing, and their second power play is ranked 26.7%. So these are 2 of the top 3 power plays in the National Hockey League. Bruins coming off a 4-3 overtime win at home over the Hurricanes on Tuesday. They won 4 straight games. They're 13-0-4. They've got points in 17 straight games. They're 21-4-1 this season when leading after 1 period, and they've scored first in 11 other past 17 games. They're rolling. Daryl Lyles liking the over in Blackhawks Sabres. That is a 7. My man Rez Mob in the house. And Pie Guy says Toronto was a trap spot. Teams rarely sweep Western Canada, and you know they're going to show up Saturday in Edmonton on Hockey Night in Canada after watching. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Pie Guy. I still hit on the under 6.5, but you know it was 2-0 going into the third period for the Leafs, and I think they should have taken care of business there. Christopher Comatini says Bruins rolling. Ron Crawford liking Pens, Tampa, Calgary, San Jose. Those are his leans. Mr. Gokster said Bruins have not lost in regulation since January. And Adam Lastman says Bruins lost last 3 against Florida. So, Bruins have been winning without Pasternak. He still leads the Bruins in goals and second in points, 31 goals, 66 points. He's been out with that procedure on his left thumb. Boston's also without Kevin Miller. So defenseman Kevin Miller, center Sean Corrali, and now the oft-injured Marcus Johansson is injured again with an upper body injury. Panthers are coming off 3-2 overtime loss at Pittsburgh on Tuesday. They've lost 5 straight games, all by 1 goal, and 4 in overtime. They're without Derek McKenzie with a shoulder injury, Colton Scavier with a wrist injury, and then James Reimer with a lower body injury, which means Roberto Luongo will be in goal. Mackenzie Weegar, a 25-year-old defenseman, came back from a lower body injury, and he looked great against the Pens. 3 shots on goal, 4 hits, 2 takeaways, 2 block shots. All this said, I am not going to jump on Boston at this huge price. If you told me if I had to make a move on this game, I would probably take Florida because of the value. I'm not going to. Florida's playing good hockey. Boston's not just going to continue dominating like this, I don't believe. Boston opened at minus 225. There's been a 20-cent line move towards Florida at BetOnline. They're now at minus 205. I just don't see this being an easy game for Boston. And Florida's angry. I mean, losing all these games in overtime, I'm just going to stay off of the Bruins at this point. Andy Townsend says Luongo is struggling. He's had a bad year. 14-4, 3.13 goals against average, .898 save percentage. My man David H., who's straight fire in college basketball right now, says St. Peter's looks good tonight. Keep that in mind. When David H. talks, listen and follow him on Twitter. Adam Lastman says Bruins game under. Carlos Pro says too juicy of a price on Boston. Christopher Comentini took Boston -1. I get it. Pie Guy says good stay away spot. Boston probably wins by 1. We got lots of time to look into this. Maybe Babano touches on this, but I am not making a move on this game. Now let's go to a game where I will be making 2 moves. Those moves, Jackets at Penguins. Bobrovsky versus Matt Murray. Now, the Jackets are probably going to get their rhythm back with Zingle and Duchesne at some point. Probably going to go on a run at some point. But the Penguins are playing playoff hockey right now, which to me means 2 plays. First off, shout out to Joseph Mondaldo, chilling at work right now, stopping in to show some love. Much love to you. Jake Cross says, it would be awesome if Pete comes back without his mustache. Who knows what's going to happen when Pete comes back. And Adam Morera says, Bruins win, but not worth the price. I agree. Okay, I'm going to make a move on the under 6.5 in Jackets Penguins. I think this is going to be a very tight checking playoff type game. And I'm getting a big plus line on the under 6.5. I'm also surprised that the Penguins are such a short money line favorite. Opened at -130. They're down to -120 at BetOnline. You know, I'll take that. Now, I know they're dealing with a ton of injuries, and we'll go through them. But that, to me, sounds appealing. Lil J says, Luongo due for a solid showing possible. He is, and the reason why I think that is because with Reimer hurt right now, he knows he's going to be playing every second game, and he's probably pretty good at that. Pie Guy says Crosby playing out of his mind, but do you trust the rest of this? And Jorge Don't Play says Pete can have my mustache. Shout out to my man Jorge Don't Play being growing a mustache in Loshak's honor. Okay. Christopher Comentini says Pens a plus money is too good to pass up. They're not plus money. They're not plus money. The under is plus money, but the Pens are still just -120, which is fine. So these 2 teams have a home-and-home series. It begins tonight in Pittsburgh, concludes Saturday in Columbus. Blue Jackets coming off a 2-1 shootout win at Jersey on Tuesday. They're struggling. They've lost 3 of 5. They lost 5-2 to Pittsburgh, 4-0 to Edmonton. Those 5 games have come since that trade deadline. The Jackets have Ryan Murray out of the lineup with an upper body injuries week to week, but he's the only Jacket on the injury report. Pens coming off 3-2 overtime win at home over the Panthers on Tuesday. Crosby's put this team on his shoulders. You know, LeBron says, oh, I'm playoff mode, and he shits the bed. Crosby doesn't say it. He just has everybody follow his lead, and he's in playoff mode, and he's an absolute beast. LeBron plays all 82 games this season, makes a huge deal about it. Crosby plays 82 games last year, doesn't say a word about it. God damn, I love Sidney Crosby. Now, I've got love for LeBron, but I like watching fat LeBron shit the bed. Crosby, 7 goals, 17 assists over that 11 games. 24 points over those 11 games. Jake Gensel, 5 goals in his past 4 games. Pittsburgh's won both meetings so far against Columbus. And if they sweep this series Thursday, Saturday, I don't think the Jackets make the playoffs. Penguins are getting a little healthier. Brian Dumoulin returned from a concussion. Letang still dealing with an upper body injury. He's been practicing but non-contact. Oli Mata skated on his own before Monday's practice. He's still out of the lineup. Chad Rudewadel will be out for long term. So that's a lot of defensemen out, but they just seem to be playing very sharp. Jake Cross says, hey, Jimmy, do you bet any first period over-unders? You know, I do rarely, very rarely. For whatever reason, first quarter bets in NBA I love, and the first period's plays just give me enormous amounts of anxiety when I watch the games. I can't really explain why that is. Nolino says, is the NHL slowing down, seeing more unders? You're absolutely right, Nolino. That is exactly what's happening because this is the stretch to make the playoffs right now, and teams are tightening everything up. Jansen says it's the nature of the sport, different mentality in NHL versus NBA. Pie Guy says Schultz is the key. You are absolutely right. Schultz is stepping up in a huge, huge way. Huge way. When he came out of college, Oilers wanted him so bad. The Canucks wanted him so bad. He went to Edmonton. We were heartbroken. It's tough making that move from college hockey to NHL. Now he's moved to Pittsburgh for nothing. They got him for nothing. He's been spectacular. Andy Townsend says Crosby top 10 of all time. Crosby will be top 5 of all time to me. So, and Ricardo Gutierrez says LeBron found out what the Western Conference is all about. Easy to win in the East with a less talented team. I feel you. Deep Ashley says my favorite hobby has been betting against LeBron. Paid off last night. All that said, I'm jumping on 2 plays here. I just feel like there's too much value, even a beat-up Pens team and this game could go down to overtime or a shootout, but I'm going to take the Pens on the money line here at -120. That's available at BetOnline. So Pens -120. And I'm also jumping on the under 6.5. I think it's going to be a very tight hockey game, playoff type of atmosphere. And I'm going to jump all over it. And look at this. It's just juicy. So juicy. Plus 120 at Heritage. Plus 120 at 5 dimes. I'm going to take under 6.5 at plus 120. Love it. Book it. Lock it. Let's move on. All right. Okay, let's keep rolling. Rob Dobbs, it says Canadiens are the most grounded professional sports players. They really are in NHL. That's why I always say, like in NHL, when there's a simple situation going on, you can trust it. In the NBA, it's always more complicated. And King Rail talks about it. He talks about the soap opera that goes on. Okay, Jansen says, let's get it back. Jimmy Playoff Street says, let's get money and let's get to work. And Jay Cross says, juicy, I love it. I love it. Plus 120 on under 6.5 in a playoff-type atmosphere. Adam Lastman says, Pens 4-2. Andy Townsend says, Crosby versus Lemieux. Who are you taking? Well, I'm taking Lemieux. Lemieux might be the most talented player in the history of the sport. So I'm going to take Lemieux. But I love Crosby's 200-foot game. Okay, let's keep rolling. Shout out to Bogey34 says, finally catching a show live. Great stuff, Jimmy. Oh, this is Moshi. My man Moshi Bograd. Shout out to my man Moshi. Okay, and Ski Profit in the house says, I can't with the LeBron stands. How you defend this is beyond me. Yeah, I hear you. Watching that ball roll up the court out of bounds was just, I actually felt a little bad for him. Dan Kelly says, LeBron's gotten some real bad advice. His legacy when he's done is not going to be pretty. Cleveland hates him. Miami could care less. LA's going to hate him if he doesn't win there. Could be ugly. Very interesting. You're absolutely right. And Jeff Joseph said, I feel the market hasn't caught up with the Jackets. They're just not scoring now. I agree with you completely, Jeff Joseph. Okay, and VAJT10 says, why is he always sitting by himself? I agree. Let's keep rolling. Islanders at Senators. Sure, I think Islanders are going to sweep this home and home. But at this line, no, thank you. Islanders, that's the total is at 6. Now, I lost on the total last game, and I'm going to study this a little more because I'm not against going back to the under here, but I'm not going to jump on it right now. I'm going to spend more time with it. And look at this money line. I mean, you'd have to take a minus 1.5. Islanders are minus 210, 220 on the road. We know that that's not how you beat any professional sports gambling. You don't take huge favorites on the road. Minus 1.5, you're getting plus 135, plus 125. I get it. Oh, Jansen says, okay, Jimmy, what's the bet? I'm on the under 6.5 in the Pens game, and I'm on the Pens minus 120 money line. Let's go. Thomas Greiss going to be in the lineup. Looks like Lehner has sustained another concussion. Greiss, 18, 10, and 2, 2.23. Goals against average, 928 save percentage. Craig Anderson is also going to be in goal. He took the loss Tuesday in their last game. He's lost 11 straight decisions, but Sens are a healthy group. Oh, we got Noli Nose. Noli Nose making unders again. Oh, and we got my man, Angel Romero in the house. That guy just hands cash out to low baggers everywhere. Shout out to both you guys. Shout out to everybody. God, I just love these low baggers. Okay, copy and pasting. My man, Noli Nose unders. Okay. Let's get back to work here on this NHL card and try to keep a brisk pace. Islanders at Senators. Second half of a home and home. Islanders have a terrible power play, and Senators penalty killing is 22nd in the league at 78.9%, so that's not going to be abused. Islanders penalty killing 15th, and the Senators 13th ranked power play is actually still pretty dangerous. I know they don't have Duchesne and Stone and Zingle, but they still have very talented young defensemen that quarterback the power play. So they can still do something. Islanders got the 5-4 shootout win at Nassau on Tuesday. They squandered a 2-goal third-period lead. The win snapped a 2-game losing streak. They're just 3-4-1 in their last 8. They're without 6'3", 220-pound Matt Martin, dealing with an upper body injury, and Cal Clutterbuck. And that wasn't the only. They're also missing Zithkas. And the three of those guys are defensively accountable players. I probably shouldn't have taken the under last game between these two with those guys out of the lineup. Sens have the fewest points in the NHL. Full-scale rebuild. They fired Guy Boucher. Now they have Mark Crawford coaching them. They're 1-1-1 with them. Ottawa gave up 16 third-period goals in February in 14 games, but they're playing much more accountable defensively with Crawford. And Gate Passkey said that. Gate Passkey said they were going to tighten everything up. Oh, Lamont Williams, I missed your max bet. Luke Mumia likes the Senators puck line at plus 1.5. Let's see what you would get, because I make sure that doesn't turn into a favorite spot. And it does. It's minus 145, minus 150. Luke, you're just not going to beat the NHL by turning big dogs into big favorites ever. So I don't support that action. Even if it cashes, I don't support that action. So Lamont Williams, I'll keep an eye out for your action here. Okay, let's keep rolling right along. I'm going to stay off this Islanders-Senators, but I might take a look at the under later on. So let's keep rolling. Rangers at Red Wings. We got Lundqvist versus Howard. Wings coming off their 8th straight loss, although they played pretty well. 4-3 at Colorado on Tuesday night. Everybody likes what they're seeing from Filip Zadina, top overall pick, their top pick, but the 6th overall pick last summer. He scored his first goal in his 4th career game against the Avalanche. It was a nice little one-timer on the power play. This Red Wings team is going to get better at some point. Mike Green has that same virus that kept him out at the beginning of the season. It affects his liver. I don't understand it completely, but he's going to be out for 7 to 10 days. And they did get Trevor Daley back, so that helps. Rangers lost their 5th straight game, 1-0 at Dallas on Tuesday. They've scored just 4 goals in their last 3 games. But again, I don't trust the under here. I just don't trust it. And shout out to Joseph Montaldo. All you guys, man, this is the teamwork that we're doing here on the show is the reason why we're cashing day in and day out right now. So, Mark Stahl did not practice on Wednesday because of an illness. He played through the flu on Tuesday night. He's questionable to be there. He's the only player on the Rangers injury report. Both these guys are just hoping for the number 1 overall pick. Detroit has a 38.8% chance right now of a top 3 pick in June, 13.5% chance of a top pick. Rangers have a 19% chance of picking in the top 3, 6% chance of landing the top prize. I'm not going to jump on anything in this game. I feel like there's a ton of volatility. Let's keep rolling. Wild at Lightning. I know a lot of people are going to go right back to the Lightning minus 1.5. I am not going to do it. And I do have plays on this card, so don't worry if I keep breaking down games and not making a play at this point, because I do have plays moving forward. And Ganja Gamer says Stahl is nothing. I hear you, but he does give them some leadership. It's a very young squad. But I hear what you're saying, Ganja Gamers. Nolan says, does anyone bet KHL? Bet my first game today. Unders have been catching, they haven't. And Mr. Gokster's big on AHL. I'd love if you guys start rolling KHL, AHL. Don't forget our man R2D2 Finland. He's a great KHL capper. You should follow him on Twitter. And Christopher Comentini says, no, I'm not taking the Lightning here. Rem most like in the under. That's interesting. Let's take a quick look at what that is here. Minus 1.5 on Lightning and plus 109, plus 110. I like the way Minnesota's playing right now that they've got a comfortable... It's very tough. You take Victor Rask, you take Mikko Koivu out of the lineup. I mean, those are the guys you expected to be your centerman. You also make trades, get rid of players that are needed. It takes a little while to get a rhythm going. Now they have Eriksson, Ek, and Kunin, and they know that they're comfortable now with those guys taking faceoffs and whatnot. The total is a plus, under 6. I feel like it's dangerous, kind of dangerous with the Lightning, but I totally get that play and understand it here. While they're coming off tough home and home with the Predators Sunday and Tuesday. Lost both games in the shootout. Kevin Fiala, though, was traded to the Wild at the deadline from the Predators, scored a 2nd goal of the game to send it in overtime. They're just getting used to all these new pieces. Shootout losses put an end to their 5-game winning streak, but they've got at least a point in 7 straight games. They have no new injuries to report. Lightning are coming off an impressive 5-2 win at home over the Winnipeg Jets on Tuesday. We all had that minus 1.5. It was their 8th straight home victory. They're getting production up and down their lineup. Their 4th line, Adam Earn, Matthew Joseph, Cedric Paquette, combined for 2 goals, 3 assists. There's a completely healthy squad. I am off this game, but I can understand the under, and my man Luke liking the over. So we will see here moving forward. Pie Guy says the Red Wings should smash them, but they're tanking. So I don't know. I agree. I feel like there's a ton of volatility. Now, here's the spot. Now, a bunch of great NHL cappers that I roll with have been eating off of fading the Blackhawks. They've been fading them, and fading them, and I won't do it. And Adam Lastman says Howard looks like trash lately. Lamont Williams says, nobody knows what's the KHL. It's the Continental Hockey League, mainly teams in Russia, but it's opened up a little bit. So, in saying all that, I'm no longer fading the Blackhawks, and I'm taking them on the puck line here for a nice score. Blackhawks are a very well-rested group, coming off 5-2 loss at San Jose on Sunday night. So they may start slow, but I think they take care of business. Now, they've allowed 4+ goals in 7 of their last 8 games, 8 of their last 10, but Corey Crawford's getting more comfortable back in the lineup. I expect him to play a little better tonight. They've allowed 34 goals in their last 7 games. I know a lot. Oh, there it is. Gate Pasky says Hawks puck line tonight. Love it. Patrick Kane grew up in Buffalo, ranked 2nd in the NHL with 94 points. He has played his hometown team 16 times, 10 goals and 11 assists. Also, we talked about how disappointing the stalwart defensive unit that we've grown up loving in the Blackhawks, Keith and Seabrook, they're looking a step slow. Well, they have Eric Gustafsson stepping up, 26-year-old Swede, 48 points in 63 games. Drake Kagula suffered a concussion last game. David Kampf might be back. He's their 3rd line centerman. He's a helpful piece. Okay. So, Sabres are coming off a 4-3 loss at home to the Oilers. They were up 3-1 in that game, and they fell apart. Eichel scored twice. I can understand you guys liking offense. Buffalo's missing two of their top 4 defensemen, in Zach Bogosian and Jake McCabe. Bogosian, lower body injury. McCabe's done for the season. Now, they did pick up Brandon Montour at the deadline, and I think Scandella can cover those minutes as well. So it's not as straight fade, they're missing 2 of their top 4 defensemen, which I often do. I don't feel like that's the reason why. I just think this Buffalo team is bad. Kylie Reynolds says, Blackhawks play of the day. I believe that this is the spot. Buffalo's lost 6 straight on the road. 6 straight games on the road. 5 of those losses being by more than 1 goal. I'm very interested in this Blackhawks squad, and I am taking them -1.5 here for a juicy score. Let's see what kind of score I get. Blackhawks -1.5. Ooh, that's what I'm talking about. That's how you beat the NHL. Plus 191 at Pinnacle. Those are the plays that you need your card filled with. Then you can go 2 and 3 and have a winning day. Plus 191. Book it. Let's keep rolling. Avalanche at Stars. This Stars team playing very sharp defensively right now. Oh, wow. Okay, we got Big Dick Energy play of the day from Hail to the Victors. We have a new play of the day in the house. Thanks to Matt Randall's the extreme great times we've been having with the Taint play of the day. We have the Big Dick Energy play of the day from Hail to the Victors. UCF Moneyline. Wow, Hail to the Victors. I love it. And I'm going to grab it. Sorry, I'm going to copy and paste this, but got to keep this paste quick. Here, copy and paste. And Kate Pasquis says Eichel just playing for himself right now. Can't win games with that equation. I agree. He is not. He just wants to pad. I mean, and this is a guy who's career highs 25 goals. So, all right, let's keep rolling along here. And I love that Blackhawks play, and I love that Kate Pasquis was immediately on it too. We hit very high when we rolled together. Let's go to Avalanche Stars now. So there's just 3 points separating the Stars and the Avalanche in the wild card standings. Month left. Colorado's won the first 2 games in the series. They both come in Denver. Now we move over to Dallas. Dallas coming off their 3rd straight win, 1-0 at home over the Rangers on Tuesday night. They're winning with defense. They've allowed just 4 goals in their last 3 games. I actually have a bit of a lean towards the Avalanche because Radek Faksa is doubtful for Thursday's game against Colorado because of a neck injury. And he's a very important, accountable center. Very important. Wins faceoffs and very accountable defensively. Let's see what we get on the money line. I'm not going to necessarily make a move. I don't know if I want to get in the way of the Stars. But if Faksa is out and they have no offense to speak of, Colorado's going to come in hungry. Now, a plus 113 is probably not enough. It is probably not enough for me to jump on. So they have Zuccarello out with a broken arm. Pitlick and Hansel are both on the IR. Colorado heads to Dallas off a 4-3 overtime win in Detroit. They didn't really look that good, but it was an important game for them because McKinnon scored the winner, and Rantanen, McKinnon, and Landeskog were rolling. Rantanen made the pass to McKinnon for his goal that won it. He finished with 3 points. They're starting to play well again. Now, bottom pair defenseman Nikita Zadorov will miss this game against Dallas. He's an upper body injury. He was hurt on Tuesday night against Detroit. And they also have Matt Nieto. If I was getting a bigger plus line, I would take it. I just don't think 110, 113 is enough. And wow, Adam Lastman liked the game start over 5. Interesting in the total. We know, another thing is with the Avalanche, I can't just trust a defensive game here. Let's see what we get here. 5.5, over 5.5 would be a minus. I'm staying off of it. Okay, let's keep rolling. Here's another spot I'm taking. You guys watched me cash with the Oilers against Buffalo. That was just a money line play. You watched, or was it a minus? That was just a money line play, yeah. And they won 4-3. They came back from 3-1 down. Then you watched me 2 nights earlier take the Oilers after getting destroyed in Toronto. Second half of a back-to-back in Ottawa, -1.5. They cashed out 4-2. I'm going back to the Oilers, -1.5 here. The Oilers are starting to roll. Coming off their 3rd straight win, 4-3 at Buffalo on Monday night. They won 5 of 7. Leon Draisaitl is rolling. 17 goals in his last 18 games. 9 goals, 8 assists on an 11-game point streak. Connor McDavid, 2 goals, 8 assists on a 6-game point streak. Canucks are on the second half of a back-to-back after beating the Leafs 3-2 in overtime last night. Edler. He's back. He scores the overtime winner. He's extremely important. Louis Eriksson snapped a 17-game goal drought, and Josh Lavo scored against his former team. Now, Vancouver just 4-8-3 in the past 15 games. The big thing here is the Oilers' top players are scoring. The Canucks' top players are slumping. Pedersen may be hitting the rookie wall. Still had an incredible year, but he's hitting the rookie wall. Leads the team with 26 goals, 30 assists, but he's been held off the score sheet 6 of the past 7. Bo Horvat being held without a point in 5 of the last 6, and Besser has a 7-game goal drought. All that said, I am jumping on the Edmonton Oilers -1.5, and I love the Chicago play. But I think, let's see what I'm getting before I say it's my favorite play. It is. It's my favorite play on the card here. Oilers -1.5 is my favorite play on the card. I see a 4-1 Edmonton Oilers victory. Let's see what I get. -1.5 at +171 from our good friends at Heritage. Our good friends at Heritage. And when we get into the college basketball and even the basketball card, we're going to talk about our big promotion with Heritage because we are sending 2 people to the Final Four. We're getting them tickets to the Final Four, all 3 games, and the national championship, hotel, flight, everything. We're hooking them up. But you have to do the player props. That's how you get into this contest. And you can click the link at the bottom of our page. And we'll talk about it more. But there's a great thing in Heritage. And you create your own player prop. I did it for the first time yesterday. I took Griffin over Kemba Walker. The Pistons put up 131 points compared to the Hornets 90 points, and Griffin somehow only got 9 of those 131 points, so I'm down minus 1.12 units on that play. But you can pick your own matchup. You can pick your own prop. It's really fun. We'll talk more about it. So I'm on the Oilers, and then I just said I think the final score will be 4-1. Let's see what the total is in this game here for the Canucks, Edmonton. It's a 6. Wow. Now, I'm not going to jump on it yet. It's the second half of a back-to-back. So if Markstrom is in net, I will take the under. But I need to wait to see if that's happening. I'm on the Oilers -1.5 at +171. That is my favorite play on the card. Okay, Flames at Coyotes. Now, this is a tricky spot, and I want to back the Flames, but I want to talk it out with everybody. Shout out to my man, Steven Esposito. Yeah, man, we killed it. 6-1 yesterday. Oh, Mr. Gokes are saying Santa Anita Saturday. No, Santa Anita shut their park down. They're having issues with the dirt. Horses are dying. It's been a very tough year. They've completely shut down the track. But we are doing Beat the Bag on Saturday at Aqueduct. Huge races, including the Gotham Stakes, one of the prep races for the Kentucky Derby. Thank you for mentioning that. Matt Randall said, did Jimmy like the Blackhawks? You're damn right I did. You're damn right I did. My man Jose Villegas in the house. And Lamont Williams liking the Oilers and the under. I think, yes, but we need to wait and know who's in net for the Canucks. Because if it's Thatcher, I think we might wait. And Pie Guy says, Randall, we all on the Blackhawks. And Christopher Comtini says, yes, Jimmy, -1.5. Yes, we are now moving it to the Aqueduct, which I'm very excited about. Oh, it's not coming up. Oh, there we go. Connecting Slack. I'll put up the link right now. We got to keep a brisk pace here. Very brisk pace. So as soon as this jumps, here's the link right now. I will give you guys right now. My man, Drew, SBR Drew is helping me with the contest. And here we go. Here's the link. So also on the late show, I'm going to put out the free program. So it'll be very easy to get in the contest. I need as many low-baggers in the contest as possible. I really do, because then for the Derby, I can up the prizes. And right now we have a prize of $100 and free contest, $100 prize to the winner and 200 bet points if you beat me. And please jump in and sign up. It would mean a lot to me. Okay. All right. And King Rail says, Jimmy, you don't give MLB plays during preseason. There's just too much to work on right now. We have an expert in Dave LA who's hammering the preseason, and I don't do it, and we didn't do it last year. But, when Loshak comes back, he's an absolute stud with MLB. Okay, Flames are on the second half of back-to-back after losing 2-1 in Vegas last night. They have now lost 3 straight. I said, fade this Coyotes team without Stepan in the lineup, and we cashed at +140 with the Ducks. The question is, do we do it here? And I don't know. We talked about the Vegas flu. That's been an issue, but Calgary needs to win this game. They're a -130 favorite on the road. And remember, we talk about it. That's not how you beat the NHL, by taking road favorites. You just don't do it. Now, Flames need this win desperately. They've lost 3 straight. Their lead on the Sharks has decreased to 3 points, and the Sharks have 1 game in hand. Calgary's also scored 7 goals in their last 4 outings. They're just not scoring. Now, Calgary has destroyed. Oh, wow, Lamont Williams, max bet, Tampa Bay solo over in NHL. Wow. Very, very interesting. Very interesting. So, Calgary's won all 3 meetings this season, outscored Arizona 18-4. That also makes me a little uncomfortable taking Calgary here. Now they're close to having Michael Stone back. He's been sent to the AHL. He was dealing with a blood clot. He will help the bottom pair defense. James Neal week to week. Coyotes, Rick Tocchet, their coach, very angry about that 3-1 loss to Anaheim, called it garbage, put an end to their 6-game winning streak. It was their first game without Stepan in the lineup. They got a so-called boost from Jason Demers back in the lineup, but he missed 47 games. It's going to take a little while to get going. Jordan Osterley is also day-to-day with a lower body injury. So I guess I lean towards the Flames. Lil J says, Calgary is Smith tonight. Flames fans complaining last night. Smith would be better than the kid in net. Riddick, I agree. I think Smith should be in for the big games. So let's keep rolling along. Blues, Kings. Blues are on the second half of a back-to-back after that wild 5-4 win at Anaheim last night. Anaheim was up 4-3 with a minute 45 seconds left. Blues struck twice. Braden Shen made his return, played 19 minutes, 32 seconds. First period goal, assisted on the final, the game winner. He's very important. He missed 6 previous games. They go 2-3-1. Remember, they were on an 11-game win streak. Shen, 2 goals, 11 assists over that 11-game win streak. He's on that top line with O'Reilly and Tarasenko. And he's very important to the team. They're still without Gunnarsson and Perron. Kings have lost 11 out of 12 games. Their last 12 games, they fell 3-1 to the Habs on Tuesday in LA. They got Alec Martinez back. That's going to help. The Kings still gave up at least 3 goals for the 6th straight game and 11 in the past 12. We used to think this Kings team was a dead under team. They're not anymore. While on that 10-game losing streak, which just ended 2 games ago, on that they beat the Blackhawks 6-3 to stop it. They allowed 4.2 goals per game. I'm off it at this point. Gandhi Gamer says Pietrangelo playing well. He sure is. He's great. Christopher Comintini says maybe over 5.5 in LA St. Louis. Maybe. Let's take a quick look at what that total would be here. 5.5 at a big plus number. Wow, that's a very interesting look. I'm not just going to jump on it right now, but that's a very, very interesting look. Over 5.5 at big plus money. Have to see what Babano has to say about all this stuff. And now we go to Canadiens at Sharks. Sharks play 11 of their 15 games in March at home. That's why when Tom Marino's saying he thinks Vegas can take that division. Now, Tom Marino did say it's likely the Sharks are going to do it, but I just don't see. They won their first 2 games at home already, and 11 of 15 games in March. I know they have no Erik Karlsson and possibly no Evander Kane, but these guys are just going to roll. They open with a 4-3 win over Colorado, and then a 5-2 win over Chicago. And this Habs team has not. Wow, Steven Esposito's St. Louis 5.5 win over last time against Canes. Wow. Oh, so this is it. You're absolutely right. Mr. Gocher says Niemi starting today. Now, that is going to be my guess. And that's why I'm going to take Sharks minus 1.5, because if they announce Niemi, then this line's going to change drastically. So the thinking here is, why would they start their Carey Price when we know he's dealing with the flu, he's getting better, and he's been great. But why would they do that when this team has Anaheim tomorrow? If you were looking at these 2 games, Sharks, Anaheim, you're like, let's have Price for Anaheim. We need to go 1-1. If they do that, they go 2-3, or 2 wins, 1 loss over these 3 games in California. It's a huge victory to them. So yes, I'm taking the Sharks minus 1.5, and it's a gamble. It's a gamble that they're going to announce Niemi to be their starter. Also, Montreal hasn't won in San Jose since November 23rd, 1999. 1999. 0-9-2 in their last 11 road games. San Jose 5-2 win over Chicago on Sunday. So this is another interesting part of this game. So they play Sunday. They have a 3-day break between games. Now, the team didn't practice Monday or Tuesday. DeBoer said that there was a little bit of a flu bug going on. They did practice yesterday. I'm going to not get concerned about that flu bug. Nice to have those days off. Karlsson growing out. Evander Kane, a mid-body injury. I don't know what the hell that means, but he's questionable for tonight. But he did practice yesterday, which is encouraging for the team. Canadiens are just 4-14-2 in their last 20 games against the Sharks overall. They're coming off that 3-1 win in LA on Tuesday. They've won 3 of 4. Now, Price, I'm expecting to not be in goal. I'm going to take the Sharks here, minus 1.5. And, if Price is in goal, I'm still going to be fine with this play. You have to be fine with it if you're going to make it on this bet that Niemi's not going to be in net. Minus 1.5. I'm getting a plus 166 at Heritage. Another spot where Heritage is giving us the best line. All right, so that's the NHL card right now. I'm looking forward to hear what Babano has to say about it. We're have all afternoon working on it, but I don't want to spend much time on the late show on it. So let's go over my plays. I'm on Penguins minus 120 and the under 6.5 at plus 120 in Jackets Penguins. I'm off Islanders Senators. I'm off Rangers Red Wings. I'm off Wild Lightning. Then Blackhawks minus 1.5 at plus 191. I like that very much. I'm off Avalanche Stars at this point. And then Oilers minus 1.5 at plus 171. That's my favorite play on the card. Flames Coyotes, I'm off. But Blues Kings and that over 5.5 at big plus money is extremely interesting. Very, very, very interesting. I may jump on it, but not yet. Sharks -1.5 at +166. Pepper says Pavelski is also out with the flu. Is that a fact that he's going to be out with the flu? I don't like seeing that. I don't like seeing that at all. But this is a deep Sharks team. It's a deep Sharks team. Wow. Pepper, is that a fact that he's going to be out tonight? That makes me feel a little uncomfortable. But I've already made the play, and I'm going to continue moving forward. So we are going to have Babano joining us in a minute here. I just want to quickly touch on these two NBA games, although we're going to hammer them with Ski Profit on the Late Show. We have Pacers, Bucks. So let's just touch on them in a minute each, and then we'll get to hear what my man Babano is on in NHL and NCAA basketball. Oh, and he's listed as day-to-day, says Pepper. Didn't practice yesterday. I'm okay. I'm okay. The Pie Guy says, I think every time Jimmy said his favorite place, Edmonton's cashed. That excites me. And Kate Pasky says, flu in both dressing rooms pass. I can understand that. I can understand doing that, but I'm not going to. I'm not going to pass here. So we have Indiana at Milwaukee. Indiana coming off their first 2-game losing streak of the season. What a basketball team they've become. They're 10-point favorites at home against Indiana. The total's creeping up from 222.5. So let's just touch on it quickly. This Bucks team, are they going to be angry? They're probably going to be angry. They blew a 17-point fourth-quarter lead against the Jazz on Saturday, and then blew a 16-point second-quarter lead to the lowly Suns on, what day was that? On Monday. So Milwaukee had won 19 of 21. Their stars are not scoring. Middleton, 1 of 13 shooting. Mirotic, 3 of 14 shooting. Lopez, 3 of 11. Bledsoe, 5 of 15. That group was 12 of 53 from the field versus Suns. And Middleton, 9 of 37 on those 2 losses. I expect them to get back to their nice shooting ways. Bogdanovich is rolling without Oladipo. There's still no Sabonis in the lineup for this Pacers squad. Miles Turner has to step up. And then we have Thunder Blazers. Now we have 3 teams in the West all tied at 39 and 25, tied for third place. Thunder, Blazers, and Rockets. Thunder have won the first 3 games of this matchup. Portland, I mean, you guys know in NHL and NBA, I just don't back teams, and in MLB, but you know what MLB did to me last year. In NHL and NBA, I don't back teams on the first game home after a long road trip. I love fading them in that situation. But do I do that here? Thunder have swept the Blazers in this series, and this is such a big game for the Blazers. They have Paul George back. He's not in rhythm. He only went 8 for 25 from the field. This Thunder team's lost 5 of 6. It's going to be a very, very Ron Crawford on Calgary. Brooke Jordan liking Pacers plus the points. Oh, and Board Scholar says Thunder money line or Thunder early. Deion Davis says Thunder money line. PG comes back. And Daryl Lyles on the under. Let's just take a quick look at the movement in this spot. Portland is at -4, but a 3.5 now on the board of Bovada. It did open at 3.5 at Bet Online. And the total crept up from 233.5 to 234.5. Very, very interesting stuff. Playoff Streets, my man Playoff Streets says, I'm back. I backed the Bucks. I see the Pacers struggling to score today, but Brooke Jordan on Pacers plus the points. Drew Daddy liking the Pacers and the under. Jorge Don't Play says, I missed the pick. Jimmy, run down NHL real quick. You know what? I will run down the NHL real quick, but I will do that after I hear what my man Babano is on. And Joy Bagamush says, Jimmy, wife called me and I missed your NHL plays. Can you roll through it? Yes, I will run through the NHL plays, but why don't we get my man Ian Cameron in the house. Ian Cameron, thank you so much for joining the Low Shack in the Bag Show. I look so forward to our Thursday mornings together. My man, how you feeling today?
I'm feeling great because there's a whole big NHL card to break down. There's conference tournaments now underway with the mid and low major conferences and college hoops. There's plenty of action going around, and I'm always excited about it.
Oh, I absolutely love it. We're coming off straight. We've winning days all 3 days this week. We're pumped. We know that can turn in a hurry, so there's no time to pat ourselves in the back. Stay focused. Babano, what are you looking at on this big NHL card?
To be honest with you, I don't love the card tonight. It's a big card. It's not necessarily a great card, at least from my standpoint. There's only a couple games I'm looking at. Columbus and Pittsburgh. You mentioned Pittsburgh as a side. I agree with that. I think the Penguins are probably worth a look there. It's a cheap price. But I do have concerns here with the under that you like in this game. I kind of like the other side from a totals perspective over the total. There's hinting going around from the Columbus camp that Keith Kincaid might get his Jackets debut in net tonight for the Blue Jackets instead of Sergei Bobrovsky. And not that Bobrovsky's been great, but Keith Kincaid has had an absolutely awful season. And I've got concerns with him, and he does not particularly, play well against Pittsburgh. They know him well. They know his tendencies. Obviously, they see him a lot in New Jersey over these years. So I've got concerns about Columbus being able to shut down Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's scoring goals right now. Pittsburgh's still banged up on the blue line with Letang still out, Ruedel still out. They did get Dumoulin back the other night, which is definitely big, but it's still Oli Mata remains out. So there's a lot of key personnel on that blue line out. So I like Pittsburgh a little bit, but I like the over in that game. Buffalo, Chicago. I know it's 7. I know it, but I've won Chicago over the total like 10, 12 times in a row now. So I'm not going to stop at this point. These are two dreadful, and not just bad, two dreadful defensive teams right now. The Buffalo Sabres give the puck away like nobody's business. Chicago is an absolute fire drill in their own zone half the time when they get hemmed in. Neither team is getting great goaltending right now either. I think and again, both teams are probably not making the playoffs. Chicago looked like they got back into it for a period of time. They're falling back out now. Buffalo is completely out of it as far as I'm concerned with this swoon that they're on, and they're on it because they can't keep the puck out of their own net. Chicago's still scoring goals in bunches. Buffalo, with Jack Eichel, has been great, and they're still finding a way to contribute offensively. Their power play, actually, the Sabres, has been pretty good of late as well. So that could be an ultimate goal fest. It reminds me of the Ottawa-Chicago game. Actually, I think we could see something similar. Maybe not that high scoring, but I remember Ottawa went into Chicago. What was that game? Like 7-6 or something crazy like that. Maybe we don't get that many goals, but I do think we can get to 8. And remember, Chicago game hasn't had less than 7 total goals in, I believe, a month and a half, 2 months. That's unbelievable that it's gone that long with Chicago games not finishing with fewer than 7 goals. So I think I push at the worst case scenario here to go over 7 with Buffalo and Chicago. Other than that, Calgary's kind of interesting to me off a back-to-back. I know that, but bounce back spot. You mentioned Derek Stepan's absence for Arizona. That is absolutely a big impact injury for the Coyotes. We saw them lose to Anaheim in their last home game. Center ice depth's not easy to fix. It's not easy to patch those holes when a top flight center goes down with injury. So Arizona could be a little bit of a bet against moving forward in the short term. I think Stepan's absence is going to be key. Now, Montreal-San Jose is interesting because you're right. Niemi might get the start in that game. Montreal, big road trip for them. They're fighting for their playoff lives. They started it the right way. They had to beat LA the other night. They did with a nice 3-1 win. We'll see if they can do it against San Jose. That's my one concern. Montreal, and step up in class games, Jimmy, against the better teams in the NHL. Montreal's not been faring well in these games lately. But as you mentioned just before I came on the air, make sure you keep an eye on the San Jose flu bug situation because it's going around the Sharks dressing room right now. It's going to it looks like it already is going to lead to a couple of their key players not suiting up tonight. That's something you want to be aware of going into that game tonight. So for now, it's a very light card. I like Pittsburgh. I like the Columbus-Pittsburgh over 6.5. Buffalo-Chicago over 7. And I'm actually going to take Colorado plus 110. You mentioned that's not a great price, but Colorado is in desperation mode right now. Dallas, I'll tell you what, that was the ugliest, most unimpressive 1-0 win they had the other night against the New York Rangers. They were very fortunate to hang on. They needed great goaltending to preserve that win, and they got it. So I'm going to add Colorado as well. So those are the 4 plays that I'm looking at tonight.
I love your plays. We could debate. Also, last time I had you on the show, Thursday, was a huge, huge breakthrough for me going 6-0. So I just love hearing what you're on. We could talk about the way we see the concern. Like for me, when defensemen are out of the lineup, I actually see less goals. And it's something that I've always believed in. I don't think that the holes in the defense, I see a defense playing more conservative. And when the Penguins are missing defenders, they're not, when we know Schultz is going to have to play 29 minutes, he's not going to jump up on any rushes, ever. He's going to stay back at all times. I do think that Keith Kincaid is a huge character guy. And he's not able to play every second night. We've seen that through his whole career. But is he able to step up in a situation? If Kincaid was in goal, I would not be concerned about that, my 6.5 at this point. And I'm getting plus money. And you picked some incredible 5.5s at plus money. So first off, I have 2 questions to go back to you on. One, if you were going to take Calgary, because I think your Colorado and Calgary plays are extremely interesting, and I've written them down, and I may jump on as well. But Calgary at minus 130, do you think that's too much juice on the road? Would you take them possibly on the puck line? And secondly, you had that great look on that huge plus 5.5 last Thursday, and I didn't jump on. It. I wish I had of. What do you think about the plus money 5.5 in Blues on the second half of a back-to-back and Kings? So my main questions are, I mean, feel free to touch on the Pens game again if you want, but no worries if you don't. But my main questions are, would you take Calgary on the puck line instead of the minus 130? And what do you think about this big plus line on the over 5.5 in Blues Kings?
I would either look at Calgary regulation line or puck line. Regulation line is a really good option because you still get a very good price with Calgary to win in 60 minutes, and you don't have to worry about the empty net goal. You don't have to worry about that sweat late if they need an empty net goal to cash the puck line. If they win 3-2, let's say, but they get it done in regulation, you risk also maybe losing a puck line minus 1.5. So it's always a little tricky decision, puck line versus reg line with a favorite. I usually go more to the reg line, though. I want that extra little security in case they win by one in 60 minutes and they don't get that empty net goal if it's a one-goal game in the last minute. So Calgary, you can get plus 115, plus 120 right now in that range on a regulation line against Arizona. I think that's a very good price. That's probably the way I would look in that game as opposed to the puck line. You know me about the LA Kings overs. Actually, the first time I lost an LA Kings over recently was that Montreal game the other night. It was 3-1. Habs stayed under the total. I would be interested in maybe looking in that direction one more time here, just because the Blues can score. They showed it last night. Tarasenko is scoring right now. Robert Thomas, a guy that I got to see play a lot as a Hamilton Bulldog last year in the Ontario Hockey League. He's really starting to blossom, really starting to contribute and make an impact for the Blues. First round pick, a guy the Blues have a lot of high hopes for, high ceiling. He had a really good game last night against Anaheim. We know St. Louis can score. Defensively, they've been a little shaky lately, and that's why they've been losing a few more games after that incredible 11-game win streak. They haven't been tightening it up at the back end, and we know Jake Allen is going to be in net tonight after Jordan Binnington got the start last night. And Jake Allen's 0-2 in his last two starts. He's started to scuffle again, and that's what Jake Allen is at this stage of his career. We're not surprised. He has good moments. He has bad moments. He has peaks and valleys. He's an up-and-down goalie, and right now he looks like he's starting to trend downward again. So anyone looking at over 5.5 plus money in that Blues-Kings game, I certainly wouldn't talk you out of it.
Very interesting. Very, very interesting, and it makes me want to jump on it. So just copy and pasting my man Matt Randall's Taint play of the day, and that has been cashing. Very exciting. We got the Big Dick Energy play of the day. We got the 8-Town play of the day, and we have the very successful Taint play of the day. Okay, so what we're going to do now...
One last thing, last thing, Jimmy, about the LA Kings. I was just going to bring that up. Great point in the chat. I think Christopher mentioned it. Alec Martinez just came back from injury for the Kings, and he is one of their better defensive defensemen. One of the reasons I jumped on the Kings overs game in, game out was his absence. Well, he came back the last game, and sure enough, they did play a little better defensively. Okay, they still gave up 3 goals, but the shots on goal were down a bit. I think Martinez's presence on the ice helped that a little bit. So something to keep in mind with Martinez back. They are at least a little bit better defensively, actually quite a bit better defensively with him there. That being said, I would play over 5.5 or nothing in that game.
Yeah, no, absolutely great breakdown. Absolutely great breakdown. I'm going to spend a little more time on it, but man, and look at Johnny Quick's numbers this year. 3.30 goals against average, .891 save percentage. Not good. Not good at all. Okay, so before I'm just going to go over my NHL card for the people who missed it, and then I can't wait to hear what you have to say about NCAA basketball. So what I'd like to do just quickly is I'm going to go over my NHL card once more, and then if you could repeat your NHL card and then just move right on to NCAA basketball would be perfect. So I'm on these plays. Penguins minus 120. Columbus, Pittsburgh under 6.5 at plus 120. I'm on, so then I'm skipping those games. I'm on the Blackhawks minus 1.5 at plus 191. I'm on the Oilers minus 1.5 at plus 171. That's my favorite spot on the card. And then I'm very interested in this Blues Kings over 5.5. I'm very interested in the Flames. I'm very interested in the Avalanche. And my only other play is Sharks minus 1.5 at plus 166. And that's my NHL card. So, Babano, what's your NHL card? And then roll right into college basketball.
Yeah, I mean, NHL card for me, we're looking at, like I say, Pittsburgh, a decent price, I think, with them around minus 120. I like that one quite a bit. Over 6.5, Pittsburgh, Columbus. Over 7, Buffalo, Chicago. And Colorado, about plus 110. Those are the 4 plays I've locked in right now. I might add some later. Maybe the Blue King Over a 5.5 is the one that's kind of interesting. That might be an add-on later, but for now, just those 4.
Beautiful, beautiful. And then thank you. God, I just love having you breaking down these. These Thursdays are a perfect day for you. But we don't have enough time for college basketball, so let's get right into it. What's the first game you're looking at in college basketball today?
A lot of my bets so far, Jimmy, and a lot of my focus at this time of year is the conference tournaments. I'm not doing a whole lot right now with the regular season games and the power conferences. A lot of my focus and wagering action is with the conference tournaments. So one of the games in conference tournament action, we got NJIT Lipscomb Atlantic Sun Tournament semifinal. We've got Lipscomb laying 12.5 in this game. Look, Lipscomb we know is a great team in this conference. They're right there with Liberty, neck and neck, best team in this conference. Would not surprise me to see them win this game and be in the conference championship game. But Lipscomb being a good team in this conference doesn't mean they're a good bet. And the proof is in the pudding. Lipscomb there's been a value problem with Lipscomb that's gone on now for pretty much a solid month. Do you know their last point spread cover was February 6th? February 6th is the last time Lipscomb covered a point spread. They are 0-7 against the spread in their last 7 games. They've just been an overvalued team. They're a good team, a very good team. I love Marbury. I love Eli Pepper. I love the starting 5. They can score. They're an extremely efficient, talented, offensive team. No question about that. They're usually good for 70, 80 points every single game, maybe even at 90 on occasion in their conference games in the A-Sun this season. However, they've been overvalued. They're on a 7-game point spread losing streak, and they're facing an NJIT team tonight that isn't going to be in awe of them. They're not going to be scared of them. NJIT's played competitive basketball down the stretch. They played their best basketball, you could argue, this Highlanders team in their last 6 games. 3-2 straight up in their last 5. The losses were by 4 at Lipscomb against this same Bison team by 4, 81-77. They lost 57-51 against Liberty, only a 6-point loss in that game, the second best team in this conference right now. This is a team that has been able to compete, hang in there, and battle some of the better teams in this conference. They're in very good form right now. They have a tremendous, tremendous freshman in Zach Cooks, who is a great offensive scorer, great shooter as well. Had 25 points for them in their quarterfinal win on the road against Florida Gulf Coast. And if you look at it from a scheduling perspective, you look at it, they got to play on the road for a second straight game here because all of these games are at campus sites. So they got to go to Lipscomb here for this game. But they played Monday. You got 2 days off in between. This is not a bad scheduling spot. It's not a bad scheduling situation here for NJIT. I just think with Lipscomb now, 7 straight games without a point spread cover, they don't give a damn if they win this game by 8. They win this game by 6. Just get the win and move on to the championship game. I think NJIT can put a legit scare into them. I think they're peaking at the right time. We've had Lipscomb in a bunch of close games lately after they got through early in the conference season. They were rolling teams. They're not doing that anymore. Even against Kennesaw State, who's a bad team in this conference, that game was in single digits for a large part of that game before Lipscomb pulled away late. Give me NJIT here, plus 12.5. I think Lipscomb gets a serious scare here tonight.
That is a great breakdown. It makes a ton of sense. A ton of sense. I loved hearing every second of that breakdown, Babano. NJIT is Babano's first play on this big Thursday card. What else are you looking at?
The Metro Atlantic gets underway. I really liked Illinois State. I actually bet Illinois State. It was -4 when I bet it. It's gone up a bit, so I got to take that one off. We're losing some value there in that particular game. But Illinois State, to me, just in general, before I get to the next game, watch out for Illinois State in the Missouri Valley Conference. It's a team that terribly underachieved throughout the regular season. They have 2 very good and experienced players, Malik Yarbrough and Phil Fain. Dan Muller's a pretty solid coach. For some reason, this team really didn't put it all together. But they played their best basketball, the Redbirds, last few games of the season. And I think they're going to be able to maybe make some noise as a lower seed in the Missouri Valley. But I think they beat Evansville. I took -4. Yeah, you're losing some line value. I still lean Illinois State in that game. Here's a bet that I'm interested in. You're going to hear all these conference tournament stories and beliefs out there that when you beat a team twice in the regular season, you win both regular season meetings against the team, you're not capable of beating them a third straight time. Oh, it's so tough to beat the same team 3 times in a row in a single season. I don't believe in that nonsense whatsoever. Usually if you beat the team twice during the regular season, there's a reason for it. You match up well with that team. You have edges in a certain matchup against that team. and chances are it can carry over into the next game. So with that in mind, I'm looking at St. Peter's taking on Marist. St. Peter's has won each of the 2 regular season meetings head-to-head against the Marist Red Foxes. Marist has one of their better teams, you could say, in years, but that's not saying much because they've been a bottom feeder, a cellar dweller in this Metro Atlantic Conference for years. But St. Peter's, late in the season, starting to play a little bit better. You got an interesting dynamic here. The Marist head coach is John Dunn, who coached for years at St. Peter's. And now he's coaching against his former team here as the Marist coach. So interesting dynamic there. But, St. Peter's, obviously, when you look at it, they know John Dunn, what style he wants to play. And I think that's been an edge for St. Peter's in the 2 regular season meetings. I think it's going to be an edge for them here in this particular game. And I'm always interested, neutral court, which is the situation here in the Metro Atlantic tournament, except for Siena. This will be a legit home game for Siena because all the games are being played at the Times Union Center, the Tuck, in Albany, New York, which is Siena's home court. But other than that, it's neutral environments for everybody. I'm always looking to make a case to take points rather than lay points on neutral courts. And I think with St. Peter's going 2-0 straight up against Marist head-to-head, they've been okay in the underdog role so far this season. Marist sometimes goes through offensive droughts. And the one thing St. Peter's, even though they can be really bad on offense, they can go through major scoring droughts, St. Peter's. And that's my biggest fear in this game. But they're pretty solid defensively. You're usually going to get that kind of performance from them. So they've matched up well with St. Peter's. I could see maybe Marist being a pick-em in this game on a neutral court. But now that it's been 2 and it's been bet up to 2.5, I might even see a 3. I actually do see a 3 out there now with Marist. I think it's been pushed up a bit too far on the Red Foxes here. I'll be locking in St. Peter's and the Peacocks here, plus 2.5 in that Metro Atlantic tournament game.
Well, you're in very good company because David H. likes that play as well. He's been cashing on St. Peter's. Very interesting. And you would take the points there? You wouldn't take the money line?
Yeah, in the conference tournaments, what I do, Jimmy, is with the underdogs, any underdog I bet in college basketball or football when the point spread sports, but I'll put like 10% of the wager on the money line and 90% on the spread. That's what I'm going to do here. I just want that security in case it's a 2-point loss. You still cash your ticket on the plus 2.5. I could see that. I could see a 1-possession game either way, a 1 bucket deciding it for either St. Peter's or Marist, just in case it's Marist that gets that 1 possession, 1 bucket victory. You like to have that plus 2.5 insurance. So definitely I'm a 90 to 10 percentage split when it comes to points, money line bets for underdogs.
I love it. I love your breakdowns. What a treat it is having you on the show. What else are you looking at on this card, or do you want me to fire some games at you?
Let's see what else we've got. Metro Atlantic Niagara is interesting to me against Monmouth. Monmouth's had so much chaos this year. Not a very good season for King Rice's team. They've had very good basketball teams in years past. This is another Metro Atlantic game. It's the last one of the night, 10 p.m. But this ain't one of his better teams. He had to actually suspend some of his players midway through the season for conduct that was not good for the team. That tells you there's a little dysfunctionality with Monmouth off the court. And again, we're talking about a team that doesn't bring a whole lot of – there's nothing special or sexy about Monmouth basketball this year. They're not a good team. They're not particularly good at either end of the floor. Now you're looking at them as a 2-point favorite on a neutral court here. I'm not so sure about that. Niagara's not good defensively, but they can't fill it up. They have matched up very well against Monmouth. This is another one where if you do your research and you're digging and you look at recent series history, you see that Niagara's 3-0 straight up against Monmouth over the last 2 seasons. They won both meetings against Monmouth head-to-head last year. They won the only meeting against them earlier this season in the regular season. So Niagara and Chris Casey's teams matched up quite well. They've been able to score. They've been able to get their offense going against Monmouth. They've been able to solve the Monmouth Hawks defensively, which is key for Niagara because it's the teams that they struggle to score against. Those are the games where they really have problems and are prone to get blown out. They have shown the propensity repeatedly. We can score on Monmouth. Their defense suits what we like to do at the offensive end of the court. So I'll look at Niagara there. You can get 2 at the Greek. Shop around if you can find a 2 out there. It's 1.5 in most spots, but the Purple Eagles there make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, all this does make a ton of sense. Liking both your dog spots here in St. Peter's and Niagara. What else has caught your eye on this giant card?
I don't know if I want to lay 9.5 with Jacksonville State. I'm leaning that way, but I'll throw it out there at least as a lean right now. UT Martin had to grind it out for 40 minutes last night in the quarterfinal round, or the first round, I should say, of the Ohio Valley tournament. They beat Eastern Illinois. It was a close game, back and forth. They were trailing and had to erase a deficit and win. They actually won comfortably in the end, but don't be fooled. It was a very close game. A lot of their starters had to log minutes, and these are the things you're going to watch for now in conference tournaments, not only this week, but next week when the power conferences begin. These teams that have got to turn around and play second straight night, 2 games in 24 hours. We've got that here with Tennessee Martin tonight against a Jacksonville State team that I think's got every capability to maybe knock off a Belmont, maybe knock off a Murray State here in this conference tournament. They can play with those teams. They've proven it this season. I think they're the best of those teams defensively under Ray Harper, who's a very, very good head coach for this Gamecock squad. I love how they can stifle you defensively. They're very, very they're slower paced, but they get good shots. They get good looks at the basket more often than not. Watch out for Jacksonville State. I'm not crazy about laying this many points with them, but I think Tennessee Martin's probably up against it here. Played last night, had to exert themselves a little bit more because that game was close and tight down the stretch. The starters had to push themselves from a minutes perspective more than maybe they would have if, say, it was a blowout win. You could see a reverberating effect of that tonight in this game against Jacksonville State. So not sure I'll pull the trigger on it, but lean at least to the Jacksonville State team, as I think that's a legitimate sleeper here in this conference.
Yeah, I hear you. All of your edges and angles here make a ton of sense. We've got to wrap up our show, Babano, but I really need to talk about this one game, if you don't mind. And that's what I think is the most exciting game on this card. Number 20 ranked Cincinnati and number 25 ranked UCF. Our man, LoBagger, hail to the victors. His first ever Big Dick Energy play of the day is UCF money line, and it just feels like this squad is coming together. So UCF opens at -2.5. It's there at all books except for Bet Online. That's down to a 2. And then this total opens at 126 and is creeping up as we speak. Now 127.5, and the first 128s have come on the board at Bookmaker and Bovada. What are you feeling here, Cincinnati at UCF?
This should be an interesting game for sure. I mean, I'm looking forward to it. You're right. In terms of power conference, regular season action, it's one of the games that's one of the more marquee games. I'd be reluctant to go against UCF right now. I don't know what it is about Cincinnati. I know they're good, don't get me wrong, but I think they're a little overrated, a little overvalued. I think Mick Cronin's had better teams than this one in years past. They're still very good, don't get me wrong, but to me, it looks like Central Florida's peaking at the right time. I mean, they're playing their best basketball when it matters most. It's a situation where it's a revenge spot too for UCF. They lost a tightly contested game earlier this season at Cincy, so it's a revenge spot for UCF here. Taco Falls can be a difference maker. It can shut off the interior, force Cincinnati maybe to be a little bit more perimeter oriented. We know their offense in terms of the perimeter game, the Bearcats, it goes in fits and starts. It's not something you can usually rely on game in and game out. It's very erratic in terms of that. So I think it sets up well for UCF. I'll have some kind of bet on them here, minus the 2.5. I think they get it done, and I like the under as well quite a bit. I know a lot of people in the chat liking the under. It's got the makings of one of those grind it out, hard fought, defensive slugfests, defensive battles, 2 very good defensive teams to begin with, the Bearcats and the UCF Knights. So Central Florida minus 2.5, under 128. I think both of those side and total are good ways to go in that basketball game.
Oh, great breakdown. And you're right. Lot of people jumping with you. Mr. Gogster, Christian Walsh, Jay Money, and Brooke Jordan liking the under as well. Captain 24/7 liking the under. Absolutely great stuff. And Christian Walsh, play of the day. UCF minus 2.5 and Northern Colorado over 144.5. I will definitely copy and paste that. But Bono, what a treat it is to have you on. First off, I do want to mention our big contest going on right now. Final 4 contest. We are giving out 2 plane tickets, 3 game tickets, 6 in total because we're bringing 2 of you guys to Minnesota, to St. Paul for the Final 4. Man, so you got 4 nights hotel, flights, and tickets to all of the games. And all you have to do to pick this year's winner Well, all you have to do is jump on Heritage's prop builder. I was talking about it earlier. You pick the prop, you pick the players, they give you the odds. It is a lot of fun and a great, great thing that they have. So that's what you have to do. And to get in, you need to get on that prop bet tool, and then you need to take a screenshot of your selected prop. You have to include the words "I'm in," tag SBR Sports Picks, and the person that you want to take with you on the trip to the Final Four, and you have to include the contest hashtag #CreateHeritage. So I'll say that one more time. You have to take a screenshot of the selected prop on Heritage's prop bet tool, then include the words "I'm in," tag SBR Sports Picks and the person you're going to take to the trip on the Final Four, and include the contest hashtag #CreateHeritage. So please jump on that, and I will be making my own. I'll be doing my own bet every day and making a video for it as well. But Bino, thank you so much for joining us. I love your insights very, very much. Where can we find you on Twitter, and what else are you up to this week?
Yeah, Twitter at Bobano. As always, every day I'm tweeting on there plays and opinions and observations, so you don't want to miss out on that. Follow me on Twitter if you aren't already, at Bobano. I do SBR Play of the Day videos throughout the week in NHL and college basketball. Those will continue. And, of course, as always, check me out Saturday morning right here on the channel, 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Myself, Drew Martin, Maxwell Smart, a great college basketball guy as well. We break down the Saturday College Hoops cards. Closing line show Saturday, 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Myself, Drew Martin, and Maxwell Smart. Don't miss it.
Oh, yeah, don't miss it. That show is fire. Also, don't miss our new SBR's Madness show with Drew Martin and Maxwell Smart. That's at 3 p.m. Eastern Time today. And then next week, they have a 9 a.m. show as well. Jose Villegas says, can I take Lucrative Larry? You can, but be prepared to hear many monologues from Gentle Rogue and now his new film, Highland Rogue. I hope you enjoy that. Shout out to all the LoBaggers for joining us. What a treat it is to run with all you guys. Shout out to our special guest, Mr. Ian Cameron. And then catch us on The Late Show, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time, where we'll have Ski Profit joining us, as well as Maxwell Smart. Thank you guys so much. Good luck in your afternoon study, but get that cash. Most importantly, Leche, Alo's Bookmakers!